just one of the places where you need to enforce this code using the resources at your disposal. The Navy, they are there, and then your own trained personnel. Let us exploit the full potential of our waterways.
All right, let's go back to another conversation. With the hard economic climate in Nigeria, serving and retired workers cannot afford any delay in the payment of their entitlements. As such, retired workers of the Federal Civil Service are seeking urgent intervention regarding the non-payment of their pensions since March 2023. They say, despite repeated appeals to relevant authorities, nothing has been done in that regard. Now let's share this story by TVC News Celestina Area with you.
The federal government's indebtedness to retirees on acute pensions rights in the last 18 months is estimated at 260 billion naira. This has led to increased poverty and suffering amongst retirees, loss of trust in the system, as well as negative impact on the well-being and dignity of retirees. Coordinator of the Association of Retired Federal Civil Servants, Olunuga Olufemi, in a press statement has called for the immediate payment of outstanding pensions, regularization of pensions payment to prevent further delays and investigation into the cause of the delay and accountability. He is also seeking the intervention of stakeholders to avoid the ripple effect of the non-payment of pension. Acute rights represent an employee's benefit for the past years of service up to June 2004, when the Pensions Reform Act (PRA) that gave rise to the Contribution Pension Scheme (CPS) came into effect. According to a report by the National Pensions Commission (PENCOM) in 2021, the federal government released a total of 100 billion naira for payment of acute rights, which brought the total amount released by the federal government from inception to 980.18 billion naira. In March 2022, the federal government released 14.92 billion naira from payment of acute rights. According to the 2024 Appropriation Act provisions for pensions, gratuity and retirees benefit declined to 673 billion naira from 854 billion naira budgeted in 2023. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Now, looking at the pictures of the pensioners, being carried, looking at the socio-economic realities, which is biting hard on Nigerians, the federal government's indebtedness to retirees on accrued pension rights to the tune of 260 billion is not acceptable.
And you see, when you fail to pay, it continues to accumulate.
Oh dear.
Month on month, it accumulates. These pensioners are saying that since March 2023, they've not been paid a dime. That's after dedicated service to their country and after repeated appeals to the relevant authorities. And you don't need to be told that many of them are facing severe hardship at this time. They need money for their drugs. They need money to feed their families. The way we treat pensioners is one of the reasons why people steal so much money in government. Let's face it. If we want to defeat corruption, we must ensure that people are paid the right wages and their entitlements are not denied them. Those stealing so much money, stealing much more than they need. They are trying to save for the rainy day. For these ones now, the rainy day came too soon and they have nothing. How do you fail to pay people from since March last year? That's more than a year. Those who even get paid every month, they are going through a lot.
Some even
and you've not paid for more than a year. How do we even process this kind of thing, this kind of story? How do we process this kind of story? people's confidence in the system will continue to get eroded when they see this kind of things happening. And if we do not address this and solve this problem, it will get worse. Those in service today who are in position to pay people's pensions, and they are sitting on people's pensions, they are feeding fat off the pains and anguish of people. They must remember that soon
Someone else is coming.
they too
They will
will
get there.
retire. And that kind of fate awaits them. Not only that, in closing, I have to say that the people managing pension funds who permit this kind of wickedness to happen, we must hold them accountable.
Okay.
We must make them pay for their inefficiency. We must make them pay. We must ask questions. It has to be investigated. Why do we have this kind of situation? Since March last year, you are not paying people's pensions. And they've left the service. What do they fall back on? I don't understand. What do they fall back on?
It is sad. It is sad. As CKN, recently, the Nigerian Union of Pensioners also had a press conference talking about this issue of cost of living issue, the rise in the cost of petrol, everything bites. Let's talk about solutions now. In terms of a way forward, that the government can begin to put in place, perhaps a living pension, because we have a living pension.
I think I'll tell you for free that one of the reasons, or in my growing up days, I vowed never to work in the civil service. The reason was because of pension. Because at that young age, I saw, it didn't start today. It has been there for long. I saw how retired teachers were suffering. I saw how retired civil servants were suffering. In fact, it got so bad at a point when I've grown up and I was working. When I was living in Abuja, and I passed through Zone 3, there's a place called Zone 3 in Abuja, Wuse, and you see retired military men sleeping on the streets.
In the open.
In the open, for days, for weeks. Why? Because they came for their pension. They were telling them to come for verification or verification. Very old people. Some all the way from the north, from south, from southwest, from south. All of them on outside. What they were not doing was going around begging for food from people. It was that terrible.
They are diabetic. They need to buy drugs. No money.
Some of them, in the course of that, died in the process. Yeah. There were instances in the past, I think it was one of them, where a pensioner stood on the line for verification, slumped, and died there.
CKN, let's talk solutions.
We have to create this for us to be able to. Let me even take it a bit before we start. The situation was so bad that at the time, federal government appointed a so-called tax force, headed by one man. I forgot that man. Mena. The man that was asked to come and unravel the business now stole so billion. In fact, I don't know where that one is now. The solution is that everybody that has the responsibility of paying, from local government, I'm talking about government now, local government, state government, federal, must make sure they do. I saw one of the states, some people were jubilating.
Because of our time, solutions. Should there be subsidized drugs for the elderly, for the pensioners?
I
agree with you on that. I personally feel that, for a start, we're supposed to make health free for retirees. Yes, free.
Healthcare delivery.
Healthcare delivery, free. It's done across the globe.
Okay. Yes.
We should be able to make sure that they are insured and put in that health insurance scheme. NHS free. As you are retiring, those should be one of the benefits you get as a retiree.
People will be proud to work.
People will be wanting to. You know that some of these people earn as little as 15,000 naira.
Oh, you say,
and they won't still pay it on time.
Good. You see, I had about 15. I showed that 15,000, 10,000, 5,000 to last them,
and they don't pay
them. It is very, very, very. So those are the issues I think that we should make, at least for health, must be free for them.
Thank you.
And the particular stipend must be given them every at the state, local government, and at the federal level.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris Kennedy Nwadisike, and thank you so much for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
BKO.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate you for having this conversation at this time. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program.